Practice has begun for the Orlando Magic. Why they're going back to basics, and the biggest offensive change is not the one you think. Today on Locked On Magic.
You are Locked On Magic, your daily Orlando Magic podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And you are indeed Locked On Magic. Today is October 1st, 2025. My name is Phil Prospernick. I'm the senior writer over at OrlandoMagicDaily.com, credentialed member of the Orlando Magic media since the 2012 season. On today's episode of Locked On Magic, the Magic are back to work in practice, why they're focused on the principles and the basics, and why their offense is going to change in a major way, but not the way that you think. We'll get to that coming up here in just a moment. First, we want to thank you again for making Locked On Magic part of your day every day. No matter when you listen to us, whether it's first thing in the morning, whether it's right when we upload, we truly appreciate you making Locked On Magic part of your day. Every day you can make Locked On Magic even bigger part of your day by being one of our Orlando Magic dailies. That means you're listening 5 days a week and on the weekends when we do weekend episodes after games. I will be doing an episode on Sunday. It's not going to come immediately after the game on Saturday, but we'll get to that later in the week. It's all part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode of Locked On Magic is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Head to FanDuel.com to get started. The first day of practice always has a little bit of that back-to-school vibe. Everybody's feeling good. You know, I'd always joke that Steve Clifford never saw a good first day of practice in his life. He tries to, bring everybody back down. Jamahl Mosley's approach is a little bit different. Moses very much, about pumping his guys up. And I would say, honestly, even going back to media day, it feels like there is a sense of purpose. You know, maybe not this team is so serious that they're not making jokes and they're not acting young and they're not, being themselves. But there's this feeling that this group knows there is a lot for them to accomplish. That this group knows that they have something, they have the opportunity to do something. And I feel like they're approaching this very seriously. And they're, they know the expectations and what everyone believes. They believe it too. And so there is a little bit of I want to say a professional vibe. They know they have to do this work and they know they have to pay attention to these details now so that they don't make these same mistakes later on. Just like last year, everyone's talking about, we gotta get these details down now so that we're ready for playing our best basketball in March, April, May, June. But that we could survive the doldrums in January. They're still talking about that random Tuesday in January like they did last year during camp. And so while we're all focused on the improved offense, and we're going to talk about that a little bit, it is important to say, while we are all very focused on this team improving its offense and being better than the 27th ranked offense and being better than the worst three-point shooting team in the league, they all say that Desmond Bane is going to help with that Tyus Jones is going to help with that. There is definitely a feeling that the Magic are going to take a leap on that end. And again, we'll talk about that in a minute. But everything for this Magic team starts on defense. And on this first day of practice, that is the part we can't take for granted. That is the part nobody can take for granted. The Magic have to rebuild their defense. And there is a lot of confidence that they're still going to be one of the best defensive teams in the league. There are players, I think Wendell Carter said it on Monday, they believe they can be the top defense in the league. Again, it's all relative. They're going to play good defense. But if there's one thing that last year proved, or that last year showed this team, it's that nothing is guaranteed. Nothing is given. You have to work and rebuild it every single year. And that's where we're at with the Magic right now. That's why this first day was about conditioning, was about defense and learning those defensive shells. It isn't about seeing what you can do with the new toys. It's about seeing how those new toys are getting and understanding the way that the Magic play defense. There's a lot that's new about this team. Do not get me wrong. There is a lot that is new. But this is also a group that's been together for the most part for the last 4 years. This is a group that understands what the coaching staff expects of them. And it's their job to help Desmond Bane, Tyus Jones, Jace Richardson, Noah Pender, the two-way guys, the E10 guys. It's on them to make sure they're coming along for the ride. It's on them to make sure that the Magic uphold their defensive standard. This is as big a piece of the puzzle as anything else, because without this defensive piece, without understanding the Magic are going to be or have to be one of the best defensive teams in the league, without that piece, the whole project is going to collapse. And so this first day of practice is about ensuring that this foundation is indeed strong, that the Magic indeed are not the same defensive team, because obviously they're not going to be perfectly the same, that they are where they need to be. And look, you're not going to get it in one day. Like, I'm not pretending otherwise. But getting these foundations in and reinforcing them through the early days of camp, that's going to get the Magic where they want to go. Like I said, the offense is going to be better. We're going to talk about the big area that the Magic are focusing their offensive efforts and how they want to improve here in a minute. But a big piece starts on defense. Now, we know how the Magic like to play on defense. They're physical, they're aggressive, they're tireless, they hit you. Like, we know that's how they're going to defend. And getting guys to buy into that and understand where they need to be, what coverages they need to have, the communication they need to have, that's the basic foundation the Magic have to start with. It's where this whole thing sprouts from. And those are the basics the Magic worked on their first day of practice. Now, the Magic did get up and down, according to Paolo Banchero. They did do some work in transition. It's clear where some guys are going to help on offense. We're already getting there. And obviously we got a game on Saturday, so this team's going to have to come together very, very quickly for them to see exactly what they need to do. But this is the truth of it. This is the game. This is what matters for the Magic. The Magic have to have this defensive piece in place. They have to play extremely well on this end. And if they're able to match their defense and make it what it was last year with the new pieces, with the new players, then they're going to have a very successful season, because the Magic are indeed focused on their offense. Where are they focused? It's not where you think. We're going to talk about the biggest change in the Magic's offensive philosophy. We'll get to that coming up here in just a moment. But first, today's episode of Locked On Magic is brought to you by our friends over at FanDuel. NFL season is here, and FanDuel has an offer you do not want to miss. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. Pick a bet, put down $5, and if it hits, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. With FanDuel, they give you so many ways to play. You can build parlays, try player props, and even follow live lines during games. They got NBA futures as well if you want to predict what's going to happen in the NBA season and put your money where your mouth is. Makes watching football or even basketball more exciting when you got a little something riding on the action. Whether you're a casual fan or love diving into the stats, FanDuel makes the game day experience so much better. So, what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app today and get started. Again, visit FanDuel.com to get this opportunity to bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. We all know the Magic's offense has to get better. The Magic know their offense has to get better. It was the big, not the big talking point, but it was one of the talking points of understanding our offense needs to be better to accomplish the things we think we can accomplish, that you think we can accomplish. The Magic can't be one of the worst offenses in the league. In fact, the Magic obviously have to end the streak. And if you don't know what the streak is, the Magic have been a bottom 10 offense every single season since the 2012 season. It is the longest streak of inept offense this league has probably ever seen. Sometimes you back your way into a good offense. The Magic simply have not done that. We are not used to a team that can score consistently. And obviously the Magic went about addressing this in the offseason. Like, if the offense isn't significantly better this year, it just may never be better. They went out and got Desmond Bane. They went out and got who Sam Vecini called the best backup point guard in the league in Tyus Jones. Paolo's healthy. Franz is healthy. They'll get Jalen Suggs back eventually. The Magic have more offensive weapons. They're still going to be a defense-first team. I'm not expecting the Magic to suddenly be a top 10 offensive team. But they put a lot of their offseason into getting better on offense, hopefully without sacrificing too much on their defense. Obviously, like Desmond Bane is a willing defender, which is, a good place for him to be. Tyus Jones is a willing defender, has his deficiencies, has his weaknesses, but we'll keep an eye on those. Obviously, like, we're all obsessed with the shooting, and we should be. It's a big, big, big piece of the puzzle. And the shooting needs to improve. The Magic were last in the league in shooting last year. They had the worst shooting season in the NBA scene in the last decade, essentially. They've got to make some shots. And, again, I think at a certain point last year, it became endemic. It became everybody is just struggling and seeing each other struggle, and there's just a lack of confidence, and it just spread throughout the team. Desmond Bane is the kind of guy that gives you a little boost of confidence because he's always going to make shots. Tyus Jones is the kind of guy that's always going to make shots when he's open. So just get him the ball. Just create those open looks for him. That's where the Magic are at. That's who the Magic are trying to be. But it's not just going to be about three-pointers. In fact, Jamahl Mosley on Media Day identified the one area the Magic have to get better at, and just improving this is going to make the Magic a better offensive team. And it goes back to what we were just talking about. It goes back to letting their defense create their offense. The Orlando Magic last year were second in the league in opponent turnover rate. They forced the second most turnovers in the league last season. Like, seriously, they were incredible at forcing turnovers. They were 25th in fast break points. Those turnovers rarely turned into points. And so where Jamahl Mosley wants to see this team improve is converting turnovers into points. Here are the numbers. The Orlando Magic, again, were second in the league in opponent turnover rate. They were just 0.1% behind the Thunder, who are excellent at creating turnovers. Magic, 16.8% opponent turnover rate. Despite that, they were 25th in fast break points. Typically, you think fast break points are coming off of turnovers, off of steals, off of deflections, off of all those things. The Magic were 25th in fast break points at 13.8 per game. Now, some of that, again, played a little slower, but they weren't getting out in transition. In fact, points off turnovers, the Magic were 6th. So the Magic did score off of turnovers, 19 points per game off turnovers. But when you look at like play type data, when you look at things that, and NBA.com tracks all these, is where I'm getting these stats from Synergy. If you look at play data, despite all the turnovers the Magic are creating, the Magic still only had 17.9 points, possessions per game in transition. They scored only 1.16 points per possession, which was still near in the top half of the league. Hold on, that's not right. I'm looking for it again here. Hold on. Sorry, they scored 1.11 points per possession in transition, which was near the bottom of the league. So you got this problem. The Magic create a lot of turnovers. They score a lot of points off turnovers, but they don't score easy transition baskets. They don't get enough transition opportunities for the turnovers they create. They don't score effectively and efficiently with those opportunities that they get. Now, again, like some of that is, well, who's attacking? How's the defense playing you? Are you able to spread them out, make them make tough decisions in transition? These are all things Desmond Bane is supposed to fix. But as we saw in Eurobasket, Franz Wagner is someone to fear coming downhill. If he's got the wind behind him, if he's getting downhill, he is someone you have to fear. He is elite in this league, finishing in transition. For as much as we want to talk about Paolo Banchero playing slow and not wanting to get out in transition, he's actually incredibly efficient. He had the best points per possession in transition this year, according to the Synergy numbers from NBA.com. The Magic just need to find points. Like this isn't rocket science. Be more efficient, score more points. It's not rocket science. But this is an area where they undoubtedly can get more opportunities. And so much, again, of what the Magic were doing in the first practice was conditioning, was being the strongest, most fit team, being able to run more. It is an emphasis. It's an emphasis every year. I know it is. The Magic are really going to do it this time. They're going to run. They're going to play faster. And it's something everyone's talking about and what everybody wants to do. And again, part of this is Jalen Suggs being back opens it up. He's not playing right now. Obviously, he's still doing non-contact drills, but he's not playing. It's Franz Wagner trying to get the ball downhill more like he did for Team Germany. It's Desmond Bane being willing to rip it and run and running the floor as a true three-point threat. It's a mindset the Magic have to take to play faster. Not reckless, but play faster and look for these opportunities to take extra points. These are free points that are out there. Free points. Go get them. And this is where Jamahl Mosley sees the best opportunity to improve this offense. Because again, like, let's say the Magic go from 25th to 15th. 25th to 15th in fast break points. I'm going to pull up those numbers, get you those exact rankings. 25th to 15th in last year's season, in last year's regular season, would take the Magic from, my computer's working slow, so I apologize. Would take the Magic from 13.8 points per game to 15.7. So about 2 more points per game. That doesn't feel like a lot. It doesn't. But 2 more points per game, just raw numbers, raw totals. I'm not even going points per possession or any advanced metrics or anything like that. 2 more points per game in just the raw totals last year. Again, I'm loading it up on my computer, so I apologize for stalling and making sure I get the numbers correct here. 2 more points per game would take the Magic from 28th in the league at 105.4 and nestle them a little bit closer to Washington at 27th at 108. And again, points per possession matters, offensive rating matters. So it's small things. But let's say they make that 4. Let's say they get 4 more points per game. Let's say they make threes at a higher rate and they had 11 threes last year. Let's say they get to 15. That's 4 more threes. I just created 8 more points. 8 more points per game, essentially. And that takes the Magic to 113.4, which is 19th in the league in raw scoring. It's not going to take very much for the Magic to be an improved offense. It's finding these opportunities. And so this is a good place to put the focus initially. Your defense is already your strength. Why aren't you using it to get better offense? And I think that's the ultimate question the Magic were looking at as they dived into how to make all of this work. And again, we'll see how it looks on Saturday in San Juan against the Heat. But this is the biggest change I think we're going to see offensively is the Magic will try to play a lot faster. Coming up next, we're going to talk about the new scoreboard. I went to the Kia Center for the first time since the end of last season. There's a new scoreboard. We'll talk about what we saw at the Lightning Panthers game. And shout out to friends at Locked On Lightning coming up here in just a moment. But first, today's episode of Locked On Magic is brought to you by our friends over at Peloton. Peloton is shaping the future of fitness with the brand new Peloton Cross-Training Tread Plus, powered by Peloton IQ. It's their most advanced equipment yet, designed to give you real-time guidance and endless ways to move, whether you're running, lifting, or cross-training with your favorite instructors. This is training reimagined. Peloton is built for breakthroughs with tools that help you plan, stay motivated, and reach peak performance. The swivel screen is a game changer. You can go from running on the Tread Plus to strength training without missing a beat. And the personalized class recommendations keep you engaged. You get workouts tailored to your vibe and energy level each week. So let yourself run, lift, flex, and push forward. Explore the new Peloton Cross-Training Tread Plus today at onepeloton.com. Again, explore the new Peloton Cross-Training Tread Plus today at onepeloton.com. The Orlando Magic do not play a home game here for another week. A week from Sunday, I believe, is their first home preseason game against I believe it's against Miami. Coming up here. Let me make sure I have my dates correct here. Coming up on October 12th, Magic Heat. So we got 2 home preseason games, October 12th and October 16th against the Pelicans. Let me tell you this, the Kia Center looks very different. I haven't been in the backstage areas yet, but the new logo is everywhere. The Magic have updated all of that. But the big news is the Kia Center indeed has a new scoreboard. All the screens in the Arena Bowl were completely upgraded this season. So when you go to the game next Sunday against the Miami Heat, you're going to be in for a real big surprise. It is a different look and a different feel in the Kia Center. There are LED boards everywhere now. LED boards around the ribbon boards around the stadium are brand new. They look really improved. The scoreboard is new. It looks more like the modern scoreboards you see around the league. It is still pretty big. It's not the vertical screen that we used to have and used to see, but still very, very big. It's going to have all the information that you could possibly want. It's got the video screens on the inside if you're sitting on the lower bowl, so you don't have to look up at the giant screen and see it. They got LED boards in each corner of the stadium. I imagine they will have scores and stats and information on them to help people out, kind of what those top video screens were for on the old board. It is a brand new Kia Center. It really does feel like the indoor part does feel like a brand new Kia Center. I was at the game on Tuesday at the Kia Center between the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Florida Panthers. Great job by the Lightnings getting that win for the big preseason win here in Orlando. Check out our friends at Locked On Lightning for a recap of that game. Really nice 3-2 win for the Lightning. But really, like, what I wanted to see was just get a feel for the building again and see what this news been around a little bit. Sorry about that. I've been around the league a little bit. And this scoreboard very much is in league with the scoreboards you see around the league. It's not the Halo board that the Clippers have. It's just not big enough. It's not the gigantic, like, horizontal board that you see that Indiana has. It is very much more similar to like what United Center has in Chicago, what Miami has at the Kaseya Center, minus the sunbeam in the middle. It's a wraparound board. It is much more similar to a lot of the boards that you see around the league. And I think it is screwing around with me today. The way I would describe it is they took a video board that was built in 2010 and updated it for a video board that was built for 2025. So it is definitely a major upgrade. I will say this, it still feels like they're getting some stuff down and figuring out how it needs to be presented and what information should be presented. Not a lot of hockey information presented on there. Like, there are no stats for like shots on goal or anything like that. Just penalties, the score, video replays, all that jazz. I would also say the audio still needs some work. I know one of the complaints was not particularly good, especially toward the end of its life, but you can still hear it. The bass is turned up a little loud, so be prepared for that. And honestly, like, a lot of the in-arena MC stuff, not particularly clear on the new speaker. So hopefully they'll adjust that. Hopefully they'll figure that out before the Magic play their first game before the season starts. Or maybe it's just, Tampa Bay Lightning's mic. They brought their in-arena ops people in, including Paul Porter, who did PA for the Lightning game, who was the Lightning's PA announcer. He is not coming back for the Magic. Sorry. As far as I know, that ship has sailed. Magic do not have a new PA announcer as of yet. I do know auditions were still going on at least 2-3 weeks ago. The last time I heard about that. We'll find out what they do next Sunday, I guess. But the new scoreboard is here. It is very, very nice. I think fans are going to be very, very excited about it, very, very happy with it. Hopefully some things get tweaked so the in-arena experience is a little bit better, a little bit clearer. But, again, I think the Magic did a good job, and Kia Center is made a better building because of it. I am having some internet issues, so I'm going to close shop here today. I want to thank you all again for listening to today's episode of Locked On Magic. You can follow me on Twitter at @PhilipRR_OMD and on Blue Sky at PhilipRR. You can subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, Himalaya, Google Play, Spotify, Odyssey, and all of them based on the podcast to your podcast-enabled listening device. You can check us out as well on YouTube. Just search for Locked On Magic. For the latest on the Orlando Magic, be sure to check out OrlandoMagicDaily.com. You can find us on Twitter at OMagicDaily. And for even more Orlando Magic content, be sure to check out my Patreon page, the Orlando Magic Hub, at patreon.com/Orlando Magic Hub. As always, thank you for your support. We want to thank you for making Locked On Magic your first listen every day. For your second listen, go find Locked On Fantasy Basketball. Josh Lloyd hosts the #1 fantasy basketball podcast, giving you daily tips and helping you win your league, all while making you a smarter NBA fan. Find Locked On Fantasy Basketball on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts, all part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I want to thank you again for listening to today's episode of Locked On Magic. We'll be back tomorrow to recap the next day of practice. But until then, for Orlando Magic Daily and Locked On Magic, this has been Philip Rossman-Wright. We'll see you all again next time for another episode of Locked On Magic.